Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tennis Weekly with Joel, Kim, and Chris. On today's Tour Catch Up,
Alcaraz's undefeated start continues with the 26th title in Doha.
Pegula powers to her fourth Masters 1000 crown.
And Serena Williams is eligible to evolve back to tennis.
Kim, Chris, today is the 23rd of February, and we are here to catch up on the week in tennis at Tennis Weekly HQ. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Carlos Alcaraz's win in Doha, a demolition job in the final over Arthur Fils. He remains undefeated in the season. Jannik Sinner, though, came unstuck against Jakub Mensik. We'll be getting into all of that action. Jessica Pegula as well. Great performances out in Dubai, becoming a four-time Masters 1000 champion. Three Americans reached the semi-finals, but Jessica Pegula coming out on top. There were also first-time title victory for Tomas Etcheverry at the Rio Open, a win for Sebi Korda as well in Delray Beach against Tommy Paul. And as we said, Serena Williams has now completed her mandatory 6-month doping testing period, which means in theory, she is ready to come back to the tennis court. We're going to be getting into that. We've got a lot of 500 events this week. Jack Draper's returning. Venus Williams has got a wild card in Austin. All things are go as we build up to Indian Wells. And we're not only are we building up to Indian Wells and the Sunshine Swing, guys, I know you love Eurovision, and we're also building up to Eurovision. I think UK, they announced their entrant the other day. So yeah, it's all going on.
It is, but more importantly than that, Joel, I was out there not covering tennis. I was covering Melody Festivalen.
Yeah, what is this? I've never
That's
heard
really
of it.
exciting for a
more exciting
diehard
for Kim,
Eurovision.
right? And
Yeah.
it's the Swedish competition to be the Eurovision act. So what's quite fun about that is that they do 5 heats and then a final. In the UK, we just pluck someone from obscurity and just throw them in there to get, well, 0 points basically. So this is a mini Eurovision that happens and tours the country in Sweden. So
what ranking? What level is this? Is it a 200? Is it a 250? Is it
Ooh,
500?
I would say
WTA 125.
if you
500s building up to maybe the final as 1,000 and Eurovision's a 2,000, like
I'm
a
like,
slam.
surely Eurovision's a slam, but I'm also thinking, it ends in the Zoo High Elite Trophy could be the thing. If you win a title. But Kim, I do have something for you coming out of this.
Okay.
I did make a purchase for you because I thought
Oh
you're
my
such a big
gosh.
Eurovision fan. This is not great for an I've done this before. I think got you a gift like the Estoril Open cap. Very poor for our non-visual listeners, but if you are watching on YouTube, you have a treat in store.
Oh, that's so nice. Thanks, Chris. That's lovely.
I might have to
Oh,
describe it,
thank
Kim.
you. Oh, sorry. It's a lovely Melody Festival and branded T-shirt.
I hope it's the right size, and I will.
I'm sure it'll be great.
I'll
Thank
pass it
you.
on to you.
That's lovely.
So maybe next year I'll convince you to come with me, and then maybe
I
that means
know.
that Joel will try and also play the Eurovision 250.
I think
Chris-
Joel would have a whale of a time getting on those Swedish woo-woos as well.
Is
Out
this
in
like
the bars.
Kim's prize for defeating you the other week in Path of the Courts?
Well, I'm trying to get her on side, so maybe she'll throw me a bone when it comes to the quizzes, because she almost had to run the quiz this week, and then she managed to beat you still, Joel.
Yeah,
So
that is true. I mean, listeners, we do have a very fun Path for the Courts coming up in the second half. I'm going to say it now, a little spoiler alert, it's Carlos Alcaraz themed. I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to leave it there because, we've got a lot to get into before then.
Maybe our listeners will be pausing the podcast and going off to do some revision before we get to that bit. But yeah, I have to say, thank you so much, Chris. We'll have to catch up separately on your Melody Festival and experience. But there's been some pretty good predictions, I think, in the last week. So not quite quizzing, but predicting. Joel, you got Etcheverry right as your winner and out in the Golden Swing. You predicted JPEG, Chris, for the Dubai title. And I think for the Fonseca Mello doubles pairing, they won doubles title.
How did you know that
Rio.
was going to happen?
I just know that Brazilians at home can do some real magic,
on a doubles court.
Yes, last year, Melo also won it, so he's got a good track record there. And I know we have moved on from Melody Festival, and I also predicted who'd make it through to the final. So,
Oh,
Kim, if you're up for it, Melody Festival and Weekly could be better for our predictions.
we could have a side hustle podcast. But yeah, loads going on. And I've also been watching the Winter Olympics, which is now finished. I got very into the curling on Saturday night. I don't know if you both did. I know, Chris, you were obviously busy elsewhere, but yeah, I feel like I'm a bit of an expert on curling, and I'm just wondering if there's curling weekly
Ooh.
somewhere.
Ooh,
But maybe
a
there's a demand for
spin-off.
that. Yeah.
Well, how are you going to survive post-Winter Olympics, Kim?
Well, I mean, Rafa has some updates. I saw it on his social media talking about the Winter Olympics. He was skiing. He's posted a nice photo of him out on the slopes of the skis and in a nice sort of khaki, sort of beige military style, like ski
Looks like he's
suit.
about to pack boxes or something, you know?
Yeah,
Warehouse wear.
bit UPS kind of
UPS,
vibe.
Yes,
yeah.
it is very UPS. It's
DHL.
very beige UPS, isn't it? What's he delivering?
Well,
Has he
he's
become part of
delivering.
UPS delivery on the slopes?
Apparently, it's the first time he's been skiing in 26 years. So I guess, he didn't want to jeopardize his tennis career by
So he went when he was
skiing.
13. Is that maths
So
correct?
I think,
As
yes.
a
So he would have
teenager?
gone as a teenager. And he's said it was an incredible feeling to ski again. So that's very nice. Maybe he was, inspired by the Winter Olympics and got straight out on the mountainside. So that was my nice bit of news outside of the main action for the last week. But Joe, I'm going to come to you. What was yours?
Well, mine was a completely different sport. Being is it a sport? I'm going to say it's a sport. I don't even know if it's a sport, but on the Doha promotional tour for the tournament, Alcaraz, Sinner, Medvedev, and Rublev went on a traditional fishing trip. They're
wearing what looks a bit like pajamas as well, which I know is bad, but like it's, I think, Qatari outfits, but they look like checked pajamas.
It's giving lounge wear. It's giving Sunday on the couch.
very traditional kind of wear, but they were wearing kind of white t-shirts. I think Rublev was having like all the fun, and there was a picture with them with a big basket of fish. I'm wondering who the best fisherman was. Sinner looks pretty pleased with himself with his catch of the day.
I mean, it is quite impressive if they did catch all of those fish that are there. I mean, I did see a clip where Sinner did catch a fish and Alcaraz, I've never seen someone look happier for someone else. So clearly they do get on great. They're able to support each other. And maybe Medvedev and Rublev have been able to get out some of those frustrations by, taking a solitary sort of fishing trip. You've got to be
taking
patient.
them out on the fish.
Do you think
No,
they
no.
Do you
Poor
think
fish.
do you think they put the fish back in the ocean? Do you think they took it home for dinner?
Well, Djokovic wouldn't eat it.
I was
so
just
That's
thinking
true.
he would have put it back. I
But
mean,
he's not
Rafa's the
there.
man for fishing because he, you want an island boy, don't you, that's grown up surrounded by the sea. So Rafa would have been a good tutor for them, I think.
I didn't see them eat it afterwards, though, I have to say. And if they did, I'm sure not in their pajamas.
No. But Chris, what about yourself? What's caught your eye this week?
Well, kind of talking clothing, Joel, this is something that I think you'll be very excited about because you were petitioning for a permanent section on, either what are the players wearing or who are they now wearing? Who's jumped ship from what brand? And what does this mean? Because a while ago it was teased and we actually couldn't report on it yet because we felt like it could be just rumors. But Emma Raducanu is poised to be announced as the first female tennis player for Uniqlo. So that is a big, big deal. We have to say, we can't confirm because Uniqlo have actually posted on X a rather mysterious post of the middle half of a player saying we're proud to welcome a new face to Uniqlo, but eagle eyes have spotted a Wilson racket very similar to the one that Raducanu plays with. And given the rumours that have gone so far, it does make it look like she would be joining a very elite level of Uniqlo players. But guys, the picture, are you with me? Is this Emma Raducanu or have I jumped the gun?
It's like a pub quiz where you're only getting like a segment of the person. I mean, It does look a bit like her forearm, but not that I've studied her forearm in depth.
Kim.
No, you're such a connoisseur of forearms on the tour.
I know,
Kim.
but I'm just trying to think who else could it be.
I definitely
But
think it's a female player.
yes, we've whittled
They
that
are
one
wearing
down.
a dress, it would seem.
Yes. I just hope it makes her perform better if this is, the proposed player on this deal.
Any other suggestions to who it could be? A little bit JPEGy. We were talking about maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Could it be Alex Ayala? I feel like is one of the hottest
Yes.
properties
You think
on
maybe
the tour.
An Asian brand.
If there is a
Yes.
player,
Asian player.
to snap up, I would put Ayala in that category along with Raducanu. I mean, just on a more serious note, it is interesting if it is true, because that would be a switch from Nike to Uniqlo, and quite a lot of top players in recent years have switched away from Nike, and it feels like maybe Nike is focused specifically on the kind of the very elite top level players, and maybe Raducanu doesn't fit that bill anymore, and was maybe told to go elsewhere, because she's playing some good tennis at the moment, but I wonder if you ask Nike in terms of when they signed her and where she's at, whether she really lived up to the expectation.
I don't think she's dependent on the bonus money for Nike for picking up slam titles anymore. I think probably this is just testament to how marketable she is, because, she does have a mixed background. She does speak Cantonese. She does have a big following in Asia as well. And I think this feels like a really good match for her. I think a lot of people really, I mean, she is headlines. She really is. A lot of people know what she's up to, want to know what she's up to, want to know what she's wearing. So I think breaking free from a brand that has a lot of stars on the roster actually could allow her to maybe do a bit of a Jack Draper as well with Viore. You don't have to be under anyone else's sort of in the shadows, like, should you say. She can just, blaze her own trail for Uniqlo. But I mean, it's a good lineup they have already. It's good company to be in over at Uniqlo.
Yes,
Roger
they've got
Federer.
obviously Federer. Yeah. They used to sponsor Djokovic, didn't they? Obviously Nishikori being Japanese. So yeah, definitely not the first and only. So let's wait and see when the announcement is fully made.
It's going to be Rebecca Shramkova, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Oh, Bouchas Monero. It could be. Have you seen her
Janice
forearm?
Chien.
Could be Janice. Could be.
Good old Janice. Right, let's have a look back at what's happened over the last week on the tennis court. We've had the Qatar Open, the ATP 500, where both Alcaraz and Sinner were in attendance, lured somewhat, I'm sure, by the very generous appearance fee. It's fair to say Alcaraz appeared a bit more than Sinner, because Sinner fell to Jakub Mensik in the quarterfinals, which is quite early on for Sinner these days. But Alcaraz was not to be beaten and went all the way to win the title, his 26th tour title. He extends his streak for this year to 8 and 0, carries on his good form from the AO, and he got the job done very, very comfortably in the final in just 50 minutes against Arthur Fee, 6-2, 6-1. So yeah, pretty good week for Alcaraz. How did you think he did over the course of the week in Doha?
Kim, he's actually extended his undefeated streak to 12 matches.
12-0. Why? Of course, it can't be 8-0. Sorry,
did he have a
7
Djokovic?
for the Australian Open.
Underestimating Alcaraz.
Sorry.
Were they completed
My
matches at the Australian? Maybe I was thinking, did he get 2 buys? Like, a withdrawal?
Sorry, my maths there was terrible.
But I mean, in terms of his tennis in the final, I mean, this was scary good tennis, unplayable, I think, from start to finish. Arthur Fils didn't really know, what to do, and Alcaraz creating a little bit more distance with him at the very top of the rankings between him and Sinner. And I think for me, one of the matches of the tournament was Alcaraz versus Khachanov in the quarterfinals. That was what I was so impressed by, because Khachanov, I felt, was playing lights out 10 out of 10 tennis. I think Rublev did similar, against Alcaraz in the semi-final, but it just shows how good Alcaraz is playing, that even when his opponent is playing lights out tennis, he is able to get the job done. And we saw Jakub Mensik I think, play a similar level, like lights out level, and Sinner really couldn't handle it ultimately in the end. So for me, that was what I was impressed by from Carlos Alcaraz across the week. And yeah, 50-minute final. I mean, it's scary, I think, for the rest of the tour.
It's a bit brutal, isn't it? He didn't really give poor Arthur a chance, did he? I mean, he's coming back, Feast, after a long injury layoff. So it's great to see him reach this stage, get some big wins. But as you say, I mean, Alcaraz Khachanov was fireworks. And
I can't believe that level from Khachanov, if I'm being quite honest.
Well, I think it's much easier to play that well against players that you're not expected to beat. I think he's a bit like that. I think he doesn't often, get the win against the top players, but he does tend to put on a pretty good showing. That would be probably my assessment. But he hasn't done much this year. So I guess it did kind of come out of the blue. And maybe if Alcaraz wasn't playing his top brand of tennis, it levels things out a bit more. But he was also a little bit frustrated in that one, Joel, I was going to say. And I was quite shocked by this from, smiley Carlos Alcaraz, who we always just think is such a nice chap. He did stick it to the ATP when he was called for the fact he was taking too long, and was kind of the shot clock had run out. And he said the ATP rules are always bleep. They're bleep.
Are we allowed to swear on the podcast?
I actually don't know if you have an official rule for that. But
well, let's not. We'll be clean. Yeah.
I erred on the side of caution there.
But the bleep word isn't awful. It's not.
No, but
it's bad, but it's not.
Yes, but I did say bleep to substitute a word just in case that wasn't already clear.
No, Alcaraz isn't said to the umpire, I can't bleep.
He's not self-censoring, is he? But I was a bit shocked by that because you don't really see that from him. I think sometimes he talks about the schedule was always going to kill them, but he doesn't often lose it on court like that. And he didn't get a warning for the language. So it feels like he maybe got a bit lucky there from, a time violation and then following with kind of, audible insanity. So I was not very impressed with this, but it seemed to maybe be a way for him to channel it into, getting fired up and getting the win. But what did you make of this? I think we do give players a hard time who don't behave well, Kim. So I'd love to know what you thought about this incident.
Yeah, I think it showed how much Khachanov got under his skin that he, then you get a time violation. Everything feels like in that moment it's going against you. But yes, I don't like players swearing, breaking rackets, misbehaving. But I suppose, even Rafa in his day, probably had a few expletives on court. So no one's perfect. But yeah, less of that, I think, the better. Because
less bleeping.
Less bleeping. He does have an image of being a wholesome chap, Alcaraz. He's sort of seen as many
brand, isn't
fans
it?
as a bit of a nice, son figure. So
it is off brand,
yeah.
But I think because in the clip, I think Khachanov was actually asking the umpire to reverse the decision, and I think if your opponent is acting that way, then I sort of feel like there should be some leeway and flexibility. But again, you got to play to the rules, and I think we've seen this a few times with Alcaraz. I remember at Queen's last year. The ATP, I think, were trialing things with the shot clock. Again, he was going to have words with the ATP. It's just, I think, something that is going to be a running theme throughout his career. And he's going to just need to be able to, I think, battle handle it because it's not going anywhere. It's not going to get rid of. I do think the ATP should allow some more flexibility, but, the umpires are, they're not having any of it and they're not going to stand for any of it.
That's making me think, Kim, you mentioned Rafa, and I'm thinking, is there a rule that you maybe can't rush a Spaniard they could put on the tour? Give them an extra 5 seconds? To be rushed.
They're always late, aren't they, to things? I think, not everyone, but they're known for being a bit late, I think.
Lax on that timing issue.
So I thought you were going to say, is there a rule as to how many times I can mention Rafa on a podcast?
Well, you haven't said Jaume Munar yet, so.
I know, well, there you go. You beat me to it. How long do we think Alcaraz can stay undefeated this year? So we've got Indian Wells coming up. How long do you think the streak could go to? Or do we want to make some early predictions?
Ooh, that's a great question, Kim.
Novak Djokovic's leading streak is 41-0, just to
is he on 8 or is he on 12, Kim?
He's on 12. Okay. My maths has been corrected. Thank you.
I don't think he's going to make it to 40. I think Sinner is too good. I also think that we've seen him lose to players early on sometimes. I think he could have lost to Khachanov as well, so I think he sort of dodged a bullet there. I reckon he's going to win Indian Wells, and I think he's not going to win Miami. So I don't know how many matches that will be, but I think he'll probably have a deep run to the semis in Miami, having won Indian Wells. That would be what I
Be
think
over
would be
20
reasonable.
then. Yeah.
Yes, I will agree with
Yes.
whatever your maths say, Kim.
I mean, it's nice for Arthur Fee as well, getting that final. You know, he's gone up to 33 in the live rankings. You know, he's still coming back from injury. It was his first final since Tokyo 2024. So great stuff for him. So he's going to be, I think, in Dubai next. So we'll see if he can continue building back up to kind of where he was before that awful injury last year. But let's talk about Sinner, because obviously he lost to Mensik in that quarterfinal. It was 3 sets, 7-6, 2-6, 6-3 to Mensik. What was the take on this one? What was it about Mensik's game that meant Sinner just could not overcome him? Because, you know, if this had been a match at like the AO or, you know, any other tournament, really, what we've seen from Sinner over the last year, like, you would have thought Sinner would be able to get through this. But what was the kind of key take here?
I mean, I was watching it and a lot of mistakes from Sinner and uncharacteristic mistakes, especially at the end of that match where he did have chances. He was, I mean, love 30 at times. And then Mensik was just crunching backhands, forehands, serves. He was really just red hot in those moments. So what's more surprising was sort of the yo-yo nature of this. You just think when Sinner gets the second set, he's going to run away with it. And that didn't happen. So that's very unusual for him. I also think the unforced errors were a lot higher and very uncharacteristic. I mean, a lot of shots dumped in the net. It felt like he wasn't really feeling it. So I guess everyone has off days, but you do have to ask the question because it's been so long since we've seen him look maybe this vulnerable. And is it a case that the wheels are coming off a little bit, or are we too quick to jump on that? And actually, you know, he is still obviously a very good tennis player, Joel.
Yeah, I think Jakub Mensik played out of his skin. I think he's certainly one of the players on his day that has the game to unsettle Sinner, to unsettle Alcaraz. You know, he's the Miami Open champion. I think he can be a little bit streaky at times, but when his first serve is working really, really well, like it was in that match against Sinner, I think he was serving upwards of 70% first serves in. I mean, he has such a great platform to work off. I think it's when that first serve percentage dips and his second serve comes more into play that that's where I think he finds a little bit of trouble. But he's certainly very technically proficient from the back of the court. I also liked against Sinner how he came into the net, feels very confident at the, you know, to kill points off moving forward. So I think he's got a game that can threaten both of them. If you're asking me about kind of Jannik Sinner and where he goes, you know, after the Australian Open with this result, I don't necessarily think it should be panic stations just yet, but certainly that gap between him and Alcaraz is opening. And, you know, it's creating a little bit of an island, a little bit of a marooned position, I think, at world number 2 in the world. And, you know, the next couple of months are going to be a big opportunity for him. You know, he was suspended this time last season. You know, he's got a blank slate really to work from in terms of accruing ranking points. And, you know, maybe there's a bit of extra pressure there that he will feel that he needs to make the most of these moments. And frustratingly for him, he wasn't able to do that in Doha.
Yeah, I think, you know, in context, though, it's been the first time in about a year and a half that Sinner's lost before the final at 2 tournaments in a row. So the last time this happened was 2024 Wimbledon and then the Montreal 1000 event after that, where he lost both in the quarterfinals. So we've got so used to such a consistently high standard from Sinner, which makes this seem like a bit of a shock. But, you know, we mentioned Alcaraz having those kind of odd quarterfinal defeats, and, you know, maybe this is just Sinner having one of those.
It's just crazy. The expectations are just so high from fans. I mean, from organizers as well. They're not paying like $1.3 million each to Alcaraz and Sinner, you know, with the expectation one of them's going to be going out before the final, you know, of a 500 event. You know, we've got to be aware that like there are quality players on the tour who can threaten these players on their day. You know, on another day, as you mentioned, Chris, Kachanov could have defeated Alcaraz. So I think it was actually quite pleasing that we saw levels of tennis that brought that could challenge the top 2. And I think hopefully we can see them build on that. I do think Grand Slams are maybe a little bit of a different question, but certainly on the tour, it's great to see these players threatening and also winning.
I was going to say
Yeah.
one thing on, I have a conspiracy about this. I just don't think that Sinner and Alcaraz would want to play in the final of a 500. I think
No, I don't want them to play in the final of a
well, I think
500
it
either.
exactly. I think it devalues the brand that they're almost selling to some of the big tournaments or their big exhibitions. If you can get this in a 500, obviously they were paid a lot to be there. But I was like, is there something going on contractually? I'm not saying there is. I don't think anyone's match fixing, but it does feel like it's not a bad result for the Sincaraz brand when you think about it. But obviously for Jannik Sinner, it's not the result he would want, and he does want to win. But it does feel like a really weird scenario where the only final that they don't make and play each other is a 500. I mean, none of us saw that coming.
I mean, the way I think the exhibitions angle of tennis has evolved and the appearance fee money that's brought in there, it has, I think, meant that these 500 tournaments and 250 tournaments have had to up their game in terms of the prize money and to kind of to compete and to attract the top talent. And I do think maybe Alcaraz and Sinner are a little bit overexposed if we're seeing them in these events. I don't necessarily want to see it, but the fact that we're seeing it in exhibitions I think means that it shows that for every tournament it's absolutely fair game if the price is right.
Well, there's no risk of that on the WTA side of things because we get different champions all the time. So
we do. And that brings us on to the WTA 1000 event that took place last week in Dubai, which was won by JPEG. She has not been able to get over the finish line in a while, but she had 6 semi-finals on the trot without getting through further, but she got the job done against Svitolina in the final out in Dubai, 6-2, 6-4, just over an hour to get her 4th 1000 level title and her 10th title on the tour overall. It was pretty dominant, really, a week from the Americans because 3 of the 4 semi-finalists were American, with Goff and Anisimova also making it to the last 4. But yeah, JPEG coming away with the title. She could very easily have gone out to Anisimova in the semi-finals, which turned it around, which was, obviously a real key point for her. But yeah, Chris, what did you make of JPEG throughout the week? Where was her level at, in terms of this and kind of pressing forward now with this title under her belt?
I mean, when I saw the draw, I did think this is a JPEG 1000. I think it had
predicted it.
I did. Well, I thought it had
Well
it written all over it, just because we are missing a couple of the big names, and she is just so consistently right up there. And when she does lose, it is to these really big names now. So I actually think in terms of her tennis, she's really pushing on. I mean, she was a little bit of a late bloomer in the sense that all of her 1000 titles came after 28. That's quite unusual. But I actually think she's getting better. I think this is the best version of Jessica Pegula that I've seen. And I think she's so underrated still. I think even despite like her rankings, her accolades, I do think that people should be talking more about her actually coming away with the slam because I think she's getting closer rather than further away. And I think there's those sort of chinks in the armor that you see with some of the top players like Coco Gauff, sometimes with Sabalenka mentally, Iga Swiatek. And I feel Pegula is actually building up and actually so consistent now at this level that not only does she belong there, but I think that this makes a lot of sense to me. And she looked great this week. And the fact that she beat Anisimova, I think it's 5 times on the trot now. She really is, the kryptonite to Anisimova because she's able to soak up the power, able to redirect, able to make it really hard, and, move some of these big hitters around. So she's got such a complete game, great at doubles. I'm thinking some of those predictions I made for the year, I'm going to have to rethink because I think Pegula could do something much bigger. And not just because of this result, because of the result she's been putting together in her last tournaments.
So potentially a bit of a game-changing week for her, or season-changing, potentially.
It could be. I really could be. I think in terms of how she's thinking and when she wants to play her tennis, we're reaching that point where she is going to start thinking about whether she's going to wind it up. Like she's always said she would. She said she didn't really want to be playing, when she's 35, that sort of thing. She's not 35 yet, but I do think when people have a finite period on their career and they don't do like a Serena Williams or something like that, then it does actually put that, I'm really focused. I'm really going to play when I can to win. And sometimes it's hard to get that focus when you're a little bit more junior in your career, potentially, because you think there'll be so many more opportunities, but she seems to make the most out of them these days.
I always think that with Jessica Pegula and her and Grand Slams, there's just been this feeling that whenever she's been in the draw, like a few seasons ago, it was like, oh, she's going to need incredible luck in order to, potentially win her first Grand Slam title. But I think the tennis that she's shown this season, particularly against those top players, I think she's actually kind of minimized, the luck people perceive that she might need at a Grand Slam in order to come out as champion. And if you look at some of her head-to-heads against those top players like Swiatek, Coco Gauff, as you mentioned, Anisimova, I think she's got a, relatively 50-50 head-to-head against Raducanu as well. I think it shows that it's more competitive than I think a lot of people give her credit for. She's spoken about the fact that people maybe underestimate her because they see these big ball bashes from the back of the court. But Jessica Pegula hits with power as well. And as you mentioned, Chris, I love the way that she's able to deal with when that power is coming at her. She's one of the best, I think, on the tour in terms of channeling it and redirecting it, and also bringing it herself in terms of her aggression. So I definitely think, if I was her, I think a Grand Slam could be in the offing this season.
Ooh,
and
Kim, what do you think?
Yeah.
Are you going to jump on the JPEG bandwagon with us?
I would love to see it. At the moment, she is sort of pigeonholed into being like the Andre Rublev
Best of the
bridesmaid,
rest.
not the bride. Yeah, and I don't want to see her in that vein. And another player who I'd love to get over the slam line is Svitolina as well, who obviously reached the final here and came back against Coco Gauff in the semi-final.
Unbelievable match.
Crazy match.
Fantastic. Listeners, if you want to watch an unbelievable tiebreak, just full of drama, watch that second set.
And you've got half an hour to spare.
Yeah, but because they played at the AO, didn't they?
They did.
So this was a
not
vastly
competitive,
better match than that one. Let's have a think about the Middle Eastern swing itself. Obviously, Doha and Dubai. There's been a lot of withdrawals, a lot of retirements, a lot of disappointment, I think, related to that. Where would you rate the two tournaments that we've had from this kind of mini Middle Eastern swing on the WTA side?
I mean, we haven't had that many really big clashes. I think I've enjoyed Dubai more than I have enjoyed Doha. I think I really did like some of the contests that we saw. I think Anisimova Pegula was fascinating. As you say, Svitolina versus, Coco Gauff was probably, even if the quality wasn't always the absolute highest, it was pure drama and pure sort of sports viewing perfection. So I really enjoyed this. I think we were talking more about the names that weren't in the draw prior to it starting. I think it was just a really good reminder of the strength and depth of women's tennis. So I think we're ending on a more positive note, but I do think that it is a weak part of the calendar, and I'm never going to be fully on board with the fact that this is the time to really lock in as a tennis fan. I think it is maybe the time where if you have a few other interests, you might find your eye wandering a little.
Curling, perhaps.
Curling. Well, you were watching the curling, Kim.
And even the Svitolina Gauff semi-final, it wasn't exactly 100% sellout in the crowd. It was a fantastic spectacle, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it was a completely great atmosphere and energy on the tennis court. I just wonder, with the Jessica Pegula win, does this sort of cement the fact that could you argue the fact that not all the big names are there? No Sabalenka, no Swiatek. Does this actually cement this idea that Jessica Pegula is the best of the rest? I think Raducanu was slightly under the weather as well in the tournament. What do you think, or do you think this is actually Jessica Pegula? This is her time.
Wow, if they're not there, you can only beat the players who are in front of you. And, she beat a slam champion not Coco Gauff, but there were slam champions in the draw. I think we have to remember that, although there have been a lot of consistency at the top of the game when it comes to Sabalenka, and if she's not there, you would always expect her to do well and probably win the title for the tournament she's in Iga as well. So I don't think there's a need for a caveat. I think if it was a Grand Slam, there would be, but it's not. It's 1,000. there are lots of them in the year. We do get different winners. And I don't think we asked that question too much last year. I think this year it's just a bit more noticeable. But again, I don't think it makes that much of a difference because not every player plays every week. And that's actually just how it works.
Another thing that was quite noticeable that Jessica Pegula herself noticed was on social media, the WTA had put a picture of her and Svitolina up. And there was a bit of discrepancy with the size of Pegula's waist and some photoshopping that had been done. Like, I was a bit concerned when I saw this because I thought, why on earth are they photoshopping female tennis players' waists to look smaller? But that's not what happened, is it? That's not the story here. Chris,
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. As someone who knows my way around a design tool, Microsoft Paint, I should say. It looks like a similar sort of job here, where maybe they didn't select the whole of Pegula when they copied it in for this head-to-head image. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think someone went in and, cinched in the waist of Jessica Pegula, because that is not what you should be doing. But I mean, it did capture the attention of the players' box, didn't it, Joel?
Yeah, it did. And some of her compatriots as well. I did enjoy some of the comments because Jennifer Brady commented, "Waist of your dreams?" ?
Ooh.
Madison Keys, that waist is snatched. I actually don't know what that means. I'm not up with the lingo of Madison Keys, but
it's a positive, I can tell you.
Yes, okay.
A snatched waist means it's really a small waist. You're looking great. But hashtag no Photoshop. I do think that was particularly good. I feel like too much Photoshop for sure.
Pegula dominating on-court and off-court headlines, it seems.
Yes.
Well, let's have a look at what happened down in the Golden Swing as it continued in Rio de Janeiro. We had a win from Tomas Etcheverry getting his very first tour title, which I'm a bit surprised about. I thought he would have maybe had one already, but he didn't, and he's got one now, which is great for him. He came through against Chilean Alejandro Tabilo in 3 sets. And he had to play 2 matches in the course of that final day because his semi-final had been postponed due to rain. So lots of tennis, but he got the job done, coming away with an ATP 500 title. Joel, well done. You did predict this, I think, earlier in the year that Etcheverry would get his first tour title. So how smug are you feeling right now?
I mean, this to me is long overdue. He's such a quality player. I think after maybe Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, he's the second best. Well, he was the second best player on the ATP Tour that hadn't had a trophy. And he did it the hard way in Rio. I mean, an incredible achievement. I mean, final day, I think he played around 6 hours of tennis on clay, one of the hardest, most grueling surfaces. And he was the second match on in the semi-finals. So it was a very quick turnaround against someone like Alejandro Tabilo, who is an unbelievable competitor as well. So, I'm just very happy for him. You could see in his celebrations, he was, absolutely ecstatic. And for an Argentinian to do that in Brazil, watching the highlights, I thought, where are the fans? But I think they were probably hoping a Brazilian got to the final, not a Chilean and an Argentinian.
You love it, though, when they win each other's. You like a Brazilian champion in Argentina and vice versa. I think probably the fact he played for 6 hours helped because you're just running on empty, right? All you can do is just try and keep going and maybe try and end the point a bit quicker.
I honestly don't know how he came back. I mean, he was trailing Tabilo 6-3, 3-1. And Tabilo thought until the very end, I mean, just incredible.
It's all a proper clay court tennis. Gritty.
Yeah.
It's a real battle out there down in the Golden Swing, and a fantastic result for Etcheverry. And I mean, not the only result that, caught attention. There was also a Brazilian champion, wasn't there, Joel?
Yes. João Fonseca, Kim, I know one of your favourite players to watch on the tour, didn't win a singles trophy, won a doubles trophy. I don't actually know what to make of this. Does this make up for his singles slide, or?
I mean, he was playing with someone who could be his father.
Is
'Cause
that true
Fonseca's
though, Kim? You are quite
19.
bad at these age gaps.
Mello is 42, so I think that
Wow.
one
Yes,
is
you can
like
have that.
very different ends of their career, really. But Fonseca got obviously his maiden doubles title, became the youngest ever ATP 500 doubles titleist,
Oh wow.
and whereas Mello was getting his 41st title on the doubles tour. So yeah, but nice for the home fans to have the
Yes.
Brazilians winning.
Something to cheer for. That is nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, Joel, I'm just waiting for you to say your favorite phrase that, João Fonseca's a double specialist. I think
He's
you're
a
going to put
double.
him in that
That's his
box.
new career.
Yeah,
That's his new career.
give up the singles.
Give up the singles. Get on the doubles court. I mean, I will say though, I do feel like watching the final. Like you do really sense the pressure and expectation of a home crowd on someone like Fonseca. The fact that there wasn't that great of a turnout, it shows, I think, how much hype there is around him. And again, sadly, in the singles of this tournament, it didn't necessarily deliver. So still a bit of work to do, but certainly you can take some solace from the fact that he's won a doubles title.
Yeah, well, one country that did have a home player winning on the home soil was Seb Korda in the USA, because he won the Delray Beach Open title and beat fellow countryman Tommy Paul in the final 6-4, 6-3. I mean, this one has Americans littered all over, and 3 of the 4 semi-finalists were American. But I guess what's more noticeable is that the 2 Americans in the final aren't perhaps the Americans we thought would be there. We thought maybe, Taylor Fritz as the top seed would get there, possibly, or Lerner Teen, even
Kim, you were hoping Brandon
TFO.
Nakashima was going to get there.
Well, yeah, he's not been so good this year of late. He needs to get his form back. But it was Korda who, has been up there in the past. He's a former quarterfinalist at Slams, but he's had a lot of injuries throughout his career, and hasn't really, I feel like, done much of late. So I think this is really nice that he's managed to pick this up. He was a finalist here 5 years ago. And he's up to 40 in the rankings again with this win. So yeah, I mean, what did you make of his week, the final, the tournament as a whole? Did it deliver, Joel?
I think
did Delray deliver for you?
I mean, I think what was interesting for me with Seb Korda is, I think he was becoming almost like the forgotten man of American men's tennis. Recently it's very much been, I think, dominated and in the upper echelons by Fritz and by Ben Shelton. Francis Tiafoe's had some good results, and sadly for Sebi Korda, he's had a lot of injury problems, and he's not been able. It's been very stop-start, I think, over the last few seasons. But when you see him on the tennis court in the final against Tommy Paul, I mean, it was a very windy final, and I think both players played with a lot of margin. But you look at his shots, technically they look so sound, and he's very, very competent from the back of the court. And it makes me think, like, if he can put a bit of a run together, I don't see why he can't get back to maybe where he was, 3-4 seasons ago, when he was that quarterfinalist at the Australian Open, as a player who can challenge, Fritz, Shelton, maybe Lerner Teen at that top as the kind of the American, maybe not necessarily American number one, but maybe pushing, top 15, top 10, because I do think he's got the quality to go even higher.
Yeah, he's only 25 years old as well. Like, he's got time, hasn't he? But yeah, he was out between Roland Garros and I think Winston-Salem last year with a stress fracture. What's a bit of a tongue twister? Stress fracture in his right shin. So he's back now.
Do you think a question for both of you? Do you think he's top 10 material? His career high ranking is 15. Where do you think he can go if he can stay injury free?
I just don't think he's that serious. I've got to be honest. I think
it's just here for
Chris.
I just think it's one of those things where the body's an issue and he's never been able to quite get it right. And although some people are more injury prone, I feel like he really does have the attitude of he's happy to be there, happy to be playing when he is playing, great when he's winning, but I don't think he's completely focused on getting the singles career back on track, if I'm honest. And that could sound too harsh, but he just pops up, almost takes out a Djokovic, and then you don't see him for 6 months. And so talented. So the tennis that he can play, I think he can play top 10 tennis, no doubt. But I don't think he's a top 10 player, because to do that, you have to be physically so there. I think Jack Draper learned how physically tough it is to be a top 10 player. And I just don't think that Seb Korda at the moment has that mindset.
I mean, back to back, Ruud, Caboli, and Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul's been in the top 10. Casper Ruud's been in the top 10. So
it's 1 week on the 250 tour is what I would say, and that's what I think he tends to do, like in Adelaide, where he had a great result, or these sorts of things. And you've got to back it up across a season. And I don't think he really plays full seasons at the moment. So a really positive sign. I've come down quite, I didn't know I felt so strongly about Seb Korda, guys.
I was going to say he comes from, top pedigree in terms of like his sporting family. His sisters are very, very top
Nelly Korda.
in the golfing world. So, all he needs to do is ask her. What is it to be a world number one?
Ask his dad as well, yeah.
Ask his dad, yeah. So let's see. Let's give him the benefit of the
doubt.
Is
he the youngest sibling? Maybe that could be it, We are difficult. We're a difficult breed.
Syndrome. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was quite amusing. Francis Tiafoe had to have one of his sponsors on his shirt, the logo like blacked out on court, because I didn't know this, because I've not officially read the entire ATP rulebook, but it says if you are wearing a sleeveless shirt, then you can have 2 logo positions placed on the front. However, neither shall exceed 3 square centimeters. So his shirt violated that rule. And the start of his match against Hijikata was delayed while he had to sort of scribble
3
out
3 square centimeters. That's
did
tiny.
the umpire have a measuring
a ruler?
A ruler.
I mean,
someone must have
at the side of the court
told him, but it wasn't.
I love. Did he call him out like, "You, sir, have got a logo that is more than 3 squared centimeters"?
But the solution wasn't great. I would probably think, if I haven't got a bit of tape, I'm not sure how I'm going to get this to be blacked out, because he just scribbled on it, and you could definitely still read Barclays. It was very, very readable still on camera. So
it probably draws more attention to it, and then it actually Barclays
the
will be
sponsors
like,
have done well.
Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there also one rule for a sleeve top and a different rule for a sleeveless top? I would have thought it would have been the same.
Of
course, on the
now
side.
We'll have to think, because Casper Ruud had Handelsbanken on his bandana or his head tie, which makes me think maybe there are rules for all of the different items. Yeah. So watch out for the Tennis Weekly quiz, because I'm going to be bringing this one up, I can tell.
Well, let's take a quick break now, but we'll be back in the second half. So do join us, where we'll be discussing what's next for Serena Williams as her mandatory 6-month doping testing period comes to an end, whether the Mexico Open should be going ahead in Acapulco against the backdrop of cartel violence. And we'll be looking ahead to this week's tennis, where Jack Draper has returned to the tour for the first time since his injury layoff. And Venus Williams is in action in Austin. So do not go anywhere. Welcome back to the Tennis Weekly podcast. And it's time to kick off with another quiz. Joel, over to yourself. This is a Carlos Alcaraz themed quiz, par for the courts, I believe.
It is indeed. And I'm going to make it a little bit rapid fire, actually. Okay. Because there's quite a few answers. Speedy Gonzalez. I have got a question for you and our listeners, and it is Carlos Alcaraz themed. And I've sort of riffed this off all the titles that Daniel Medvedev has won. And I saw this great stat about the number of countries Carlos Alcaraz has won a tour title in. He has won a title in 14 different countries. And I would like you to name me a country that Carlos Alcaraz has won a tour title in. I'm just going to, I know my maths can be on the wane sometimes, so I'm just going to double check.
Mine's dreadful as well, Joel, as we found out earlier.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes, 14 countries. And yes, this does include Grand Slams.
Okay.
Who would like to go first?
14 countries from 26 titles.
Well, we're going to have to kind of reel off the easy ones, aren't we, Kim?
Yeah. I don't mind going first.
Be my guest.
Okay. The United Kingdom.
Correct. Do you very quickly? Do you want to tell me the titles?
Oh, Queens and Wimbledon.
Very good.
times
He's
two.
got 2 apiece for Wimbledon, 2 apiece for Queens.
I've just got a feeling he's won a title in France.
Oh, you're not going for. Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. I was thinking of like a small T50 then. I was like, you're not going for the obvious, Chris. Sorry. I completely, forgot about the obvious.
That is correct. France 2024 Roland Garros, 2025 Roland Garros.
Australia 2026 Aussie Open.
Ooh,
Correct.
showing off there,
And
Kim. Are
possibly
we?
another one. Has he won a smaller
No,
one?
nothing.
there?
That's
No?
first title in Australia. So, yeah, very good. 2-1 to Kim.
Again, I just have a feeling he's won a title on American soil in the USA.
That is correct. Yes. Miami, US Open, Indian Wells, Cincinnati, and the US Open. So that is 2 apiece. Back to Kim.
Gets harder now. Spain, his home country. He has, I assume, won Madrid, probably Barcelona.
That is correct. He has won Madrid twice and he has won Barcelona twice. So that is 3-2 to Kim. Back to Chris.
He has won in China.
That is correct. Yes. He is the 2024 Beijing champion. China Open in Beijing, I think. Yes.
Well, as of last weekend, he's also won in Qatar.
That is very good. Yes,
Why do we never do these
correct
first? The obvious
answer.
ones. Joel must have just been thinking, what are they
So,
doing?
I think that is 4-3 to Kim. You've named 7. There are 7 left.
The Netherlands.
That is a correct answer. Very good. 2025 Rotterdam Open champion.
This isn't very quick fire from us. We're going to be
I know.
here to get, we're
I
going to get
know.
on 26, aren't we?
So 4
Italy.
apiece.
He must have won Rome Masters, I'm assuming. Italy.
That is
Or
correct. Yes.
the season ending. Yeah.
Italy is right. 2025 Rome Italian Open. So Kim, you are in the lead. I think that is that 5-4? I've already lost count. I think it's 5-4 and it's back to Chris.
Right.
It's getting trickier now.
I'm going to try and show off here. I think he's won in Croatia.
Oh, is this Umag?
I think that's the only one it can be.
That is correct. Very good.
His first title,
knowledge.
I think.
2021 Umag. So Croatia is on the list. So 5 apiece. I think it's 5 apiece.
We've still got a lot to go, haven't we?
Yeah. Canada. What must have been one of the Rogers Cup or Montreal or both.
That's an incorrect answer.
Oh no!
Kim.
Has he not won
He
either?
has not won in Canada.
He doesn't play them, maybe. Who knows?
So, Chris, you do have an opportunity to win if you give me a country that Alcaraz has won a title in. There's a few left.
Right. I've got to take this very seriously. I've got a few in mind, but I'm going to go with the one that I'm most confident on. And I think he's won a title in Japan.
Japan. That is a correct answer.
Well
Very
done,
good.
well done.
Chris is
Kim
the
has
winner
finally
this week.
been usurped as the winner of these. Thank goodness.
Well, I had like
Canada
2 good weeks. I
not
did have
on
some
the
more
list.
answers though.
Okay.
That
I
you
was gonna
didn't
say
say as
Brazil.
in classic Kim style.
Brazil.
And in classic Kim style, that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
of
could have
course.
said he won Rio in 2022.
He
What
won-
about Mexico as well? Did he win Acapulco?
I think he's won Buenos
No.
Aires, Argentina.
He's
Oh.
not won in Mexico. He has won in Argentina.
I did think.
Dubai?
No, he's also Monaco.
Oh, has he
Yes.
won that?
Has he won that?
He has won Monte
Yeah.
Carlo.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
It was last year he won it.
Is I think the final answer. I think.
No, we weren't far off. I mean, yeah. Okay.
That was pretty good. I'm glad
well
that we
done,
didn't.
Chris. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel more.
Did we say
informed
Japan?
now.
I forget now.
That's
Did
what
we
I just
say
ended
Japan?
on.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's my memory of a goldfish. But yes, Argentina, Australia, Brazil, China, Croatia, France, Italy, Japan, Monaco,
Wow.
Netherlands, Qatar, Spain, UK, and USA.
So, Kim,
Nice.
we need a mysterious player next week.
Next week, I'm going to come out with the hardest mysterious player of your lives.
Oh,
and
God.
make you
Oh.
suffer.
I'm nervous already.
No one's going to tune in for that, Kim. Goodness, that
No.
sounds violent.
Well, if they've listened closely today, perhaps the person might have been mentioned. Who knows?
Is it Serena Williams? No.
I'm going to dip into our mailbag because we've got one from Linda on email this week. Thank you very much, Linda. Linda has said, with the Saudi 1000 coming in 2028, most likely in February, there's been a lot of talk about what will happen to the Golden Swing. Fonseca and a number of players have said they would support a switch to hardcourt if it meant keeping the tournament. Would you be in favour of that happening? And is it realistic for the Golden Swing to stay as it is, or do you think it will need to be kind of condensed or shrunk or have the surface changed, like moving forward, given that Saudi 1000 is probably coming in the same space? I'm going to come to Chris first.
Well, great question. I think it was very interesting, sort of this curveball that we got from the players around this hard court switch, because I did not know that was on the cards. I think previously maybe there have been iterations where, maybe it has been played on hard courts in the past, but for me, it always feels like it is clay. Clay is where it belongs. So I guess that's because players don't really want to have to switch surfaces. We talk about injuries a lot. That's why probably they don't get the level of talent that they probably deserve down there. But it doesn't mean that the level of support and passion for tennis isn't on display. And that's what I think is so special about the Golden Swing. That's why it's on my tennis bucket list, is because it is something that really, if you remove it from the calendar, it would be hugely disappointing to tennis in South America. It's such a cultural thing. Alina went, she really sold me on it. And it is so significant. I think some of the finals this year, due to the rain and the weather, maybe wasn't quite the spectacle that people may have wanted them to be. But I would love it to stay. I do think it's going to have to be shrunk, though. I do think that based on what we've seen, where the ATP chairman visited Rio and Buenos Aires, but he did not go to Chile. So it makes me think that 250 might be getting a bump. And hot off the press, there is, a rumor mill is circulating that the ATP have committed to Buenos Aires and Rio, with the potential of both of them becoming 500 to try and attract higher quality tennis players to this event. But it seems like they are still sold on them happening. It just feels like it's not going to be a 3-week thing.
Joel, are you kind of broadly in agreement, or anything else you wanted to add?
It's almost annoying. I think there is going to be a Saudi 1000. I mean, we've seen, what it's looking like on the, the WTA tour at the moment, and maybe it's not like the best positioning. And we've had such passionate fans, I think, in South America. I personally would have loved to see an expansion of the Golden Swing and have a 1000 event in South America. I think that would have been great on the ATP tour. Doesn't look like we're going to get that. I do think it can survive. I just think naturally there is just so many South American players who love the idea of playing at home, on the clay, or maybe on the hard courts. We'll see. But yeah, it feels like I'm not happy. I'm not necessarily happy with it. I just hope the Golden Swing survives. I think it's so strong that regardless of what it looks like, I think it will attract fans and players. I remember we just see, random doubles events with packed out crowds, for example. I think it shows like the strength of it. But I do think, more could have been done there if we didn't have a 1000 event coming in Saudi.
Such a good point. It would be such an erosion of culture, and I think that's what the Golden Swing has that so many of these new tournaments don't have. It's the tennis history, the culture, the passion.
Heritage.
It really does. And that is important. And I think if you lose something like that, or you're willing to trade that for an empty stadium in Saudi Arabia, I think there's something really wrong, because that's not what sport's about. Sport is not just about money. And I think that's something where there will have to be players, there'll have to be people who will fight for this to stay. And you really hope that, the coin falls on the right side.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's see what happens. We don't have it confirmed that the Saudi 1000 is going to be in February. So let's see. But thank you, Linda, for getting in touch. Well, moving on to some other bits of news that have come in over the last week. We've got to talk about Serena Williams, because the day has come. February the 22nd, so very, very recently, her sort of mandatory 6-month doping testing period has come to an end. So theoretically, as of tomorrow, she could compete on the tour again, which is, I mean, it's inevitable, surely, that we're going to see her in some capacity this year, you would think. She's filed all the paperwork she needed. She's done this 6 months. So, I mean, the question is to both of you, when is she coming back? Where is this going to be? What do you think, Chris?
Well, I've been following this one closely, and it doesn't look like Indian Wells, because Venus has entered into the doubles with Leylah Fernandez. They've announced that wild card. I do think, given the history that the Williams sisters have with the tournament, I would find it a little bit surprising if she did come back there. I mean, she has actually come back there previously, I think, when she played after her maternity leave a long time ago now. I think Miami could be potential, but I also don't think she's going to rush it. And so last time she did start in the summer, and she's done a bit of a cryptic post on Instagram where she said, "I'm getting ready for a Serena summer, #Summer of Serena." So
that has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Summer of Serena.
It does. And it does make me think that she is maybe finally confirming that it won't be prior to the summer swing on the tour. You know what happens in summer, Kim? There's a tournament.
Big W, yeah.
There's a tournament on grass, I believe. Winston-Salem, yeah, she's coming back. Washington as well, maybe.
I'd actually love to see her in Washington.
Maybe that's actually a par for the course to be tournaments beginning with a W in the summer.
Let's go through the alphabet.
Yeah, we have three answers.
Yeah. Sharapova did comment on her post to say Wimbledon ?
I would love to see like a WWE Royal Rumble style announcement out of nowhere, like the night before a tournament, like Austin next week. It's like, oh, by the way, I'm in the draw, and we're gonna have some incredible entrance, and the whole of the world is just gonna flock on to Austin.
I did text my friend who lives in Texas, and I said, "Get yourself to Austin. Serena's playing."
I mean, Venus is there.
Well, Venus is there, but I did text her. I said that you got to go.
Late doubles wild card for Venus and Serena for Austin. I don't know.
But I mean, I think she might have missed the boat on that one. Also, she did just say she's only just started practicing serving again. But I don't really believe any of Serena's Instagram posts. I think you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But I think we're all in agreement. There's no way on this earth that you would put yourself back into the doping program if you were not
committed
to play
at some point to come back. Yeah.
Curveball thought. Do you think Venus Williams and Leylah Fernandez, that's like it's like a fake
bait
out
and switch?
It's could it be
a red herring?
A red herring.
Leylah Fernandez, the red herring.
Yeah, it's gonna get injured or it's not gonna be fit for the doubles, and Venus Williams is going to be searching for a partner. And who does she call up? Sister Serena.
I mean,
well, who knows? I mean,
I'm probably getting ahead of myself on.
But where would we say then, if we had to say where we think we're going to see her and in what capacity? I think we've talked about this a lot, but now I think
surely
that would
give her. Well, it gives her a good sort of 3 and a bit months. No, Miami. Does she live in Florida?
She used to have a. I'm sure she's a house
handy.
there. That would be very easy. I think we're going to see her before the grass.
You think on the clay?
I don't know. I'm not sure what level she's going to come back at either.
I think she's going to come back at Eastbourne.
Again.
Ooh. Book those hotels now.
Okay, I'm going to say before that. I'm not sure what tournament. I don't think it's going to be Ilky, though. I think it's going to be maybe slightly before. I just really think she got it wrong the last time by starting so late. She was not match fit for Wimbledon when she played against, Harmony Tan, and she wasn't even match fit, I don't think, at her best for the US Open. I think it takes a while. So
what about Queen's WTA 500?
Well,
that would be good.
That would be box office.
That would be good. I'm trying to think what other tournaments we have. Is she going to play clay? Big question, Kim.
I don't see it personally. I think grass, and then if that goes well, the American hard court swing in the summer.
I can't see her risking it playing clay.
I think I'm going to say it. She's going to play on clay. She's going to do it.
Okay.
Do you think she's going to miss a Grand Slam opportunity? I can't see Serena doing that.
Oh, you mean come back for the Roland Garros possibility of?
I think that would be the preparation for Wimbledon, I would say.
Despite the surface
I think Wimbledon,
difference.
US Open, focus on second half of the
Singles or
season.
doubles? Final question before we move on.
Maybe doubles on clay and then singles onwards.
She's definitely going to be on both, I think, at some point. That's what, as much as I can say. What do you think, Joel?
I think singles and doubles. I think we're going to get an Andy Murray style farewell potentially at Wimbledon.
Oh, a full retirement, not
full retirement. I
back.
think she'll go on to play, the hard court swing in New York,
Australia, or just take it as it comes, presumably. Actually,
yeah, maybe.
Are we getting ahead of ourselves?
See how the body reacts.
I think we're getting.
Are we going to get a rematch between
tennis.
Serena and Aya Tomljanovic?
She said that she really doesn't want to play her again, Tomljanovic. She's like,
do you know who Tomljanovic is playing in Austin?
Who?
Venus Williams.
Hey, oh, I hope it doesn't trigger memories. But let's talk about what is happening this week rather than thinking about hypotheticals that may never happen. We've got a trio of 500s and we've got a couple of 250s. So we've got Dubai, Acapulco, and Merida 500s, and Austin and Santiago 250s. I mean, most notably, we should talk about Acapulco because it's in Guerrero, which is one of the Mexican states, but there's been quite a lot of violence there. Some drug barons and what have you. And
El Mencho.
Violent. El Mencho has been
the
captured.
cartels. I mean, goodness me.
Yeah, but they're going ahead with the tournament, aren't they? Because some people may have thought, oh, should we be going ahead with this? But they are continuing. The tournament have had to issue a statement because there were some rumours going around online that it was going to be cancelled, but it is happening. The Merida Open hasn't made a statement, but we also believe that is happening, although it's quite a way away from Acapulco.
I think surely Emma Navarro would get a private jet for the girls, billionaire daughter.
Do you think
a lot of flights have been cancelled, haven't they? From
do
the
you
US?
think they should be happening?
Is the threat very? I mean, I don't know enough about the situation, but if there's any risk to anything, I think, I mean, do they have insurance to cancel because of this? That might be one of the things I'm thinking about.
That's what I've been wondering. Whose decision is it? Because I feel like the tournament organisers are obviously going to want to say that this should be, we want to carry on. And I wonder if this should be, this is actually a WTA looking after their players' decision, and maybe they would have to compensate the tournament.
Yeah.
But I feel like if there's any sort of threat there, even
get them out
in relation, then get them out. And I personally think maybe this shouldn't be taking place. It's so immediate after things have happened. I think it's hard to predict anything. So I don't think these tournaments necessarily should be taking place.
God, I mean, Heather Watson, after qualifying, if it does get cancelled, she's finally getting herself back on the tennis court. But I mean, they are happening at the moment. So I guess we have to talk about what might be happening this week.
What we might be getting. I mean, yeah, because it's the US government has warned its own citizens to shelter, but whether the Mexican government is doing the same.
Tennis players is fine.
Will there be any fans? I don't know if how
sheltering does not involve. I mean, playing
tennis.
To watch tennis.
Yeah. But Heather Watson did qualify, which is great for her.
Good
Sloane
first
Stephens
round, Kim.
is also there
For Heather Watson.
First round. Yes. JBM.
You'll be glued to the tally for that one. Surely that's your Grand Slam. That's Venus versus Serena for you.
Oh, I know. We've also got Emma Navarro playing Arango. No, they're in the same half because last time Emma Navarro won this, didn't she? And she double bageled Arango in the final. God. So Arango will be really hoping
to get a game.
Navarro at any point.
If that does happen, yes.
Yeah. And then in Acapulco, we've got, that's men, isn't it? So we've got
men playing.
Zverev top seed and Alex de Minaur second seed. And then we've also got Dubai for the men. FAA is the top seed there. Bublik second seed. Draper has returned with a win over Quentin Halys already. So that's great news that he's got that under his belt. And last but not least, Austin 250 for the women, which is where Venus is playing and
Kim,
will
you're forgetting
face Tomljanovic.
Santiago.
And Santiago. There's just too many.
There's a lot of tennis.
Cerundolo, Fran Cerundolo top seed there.
Whoever's left on the golden swing is
once
still
again,
going.
Cerundolo and Darderi, I think,
They're
seeds
just
1 and 2.
stalwarts, of the golden swing.
Berrettini's got to get something for going to the golden swing in that one, I think. And, will JPEG, I guess she is going to fly back to the US.
I wouldn't say that she needs to play this personally.
I think because she won it last year as a defending champion, she's able to. I know she left Dubai the evening that she won, and I hope she does play it because Bianca Andreescu's going from W75s to a 250, and I would love to see, Pegula versus
her level again.
Yeah, Andreescu, see where she's at
Yeah.
completely. I think that would be fabulous.
That'd be helpful.
Do you think Venus
definitely.
Williams will get her first tour win of the season against Tomljanovic?
It's a
Get a
good a chance as she's going to have. I think she could do it, but Tomljanovic does have a record of playing her best tennis against Williams sisters.
Wow,
She does. Well,
we shall see. We shall see. Indeed, the golden swing keeps on swinging and moving back to America in the build up to the Sunshine Swing. Indian Wells and Miami around the corner, but we're going to wrap up our latest tour catch up here at Tennis Weekly HQ. We hope you've enjoyed the ride with us. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss a moment of action on the ATP and WTA tours. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all your favorite podcasting platforms out there.
and if you love what you're hearing, then be sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube.
And you can stay connected with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Threads. So do make sure you follow us at all of those. And you can get in touch with us for our mailbag at tennisweeklypod@gmail.com, or visit our website, as always, at tennisweekly.co.uk.
And we'll be back next week for another tour catch up. But until then, it's goodbye from Kim.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Chris.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Tennis Weekly.